Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. This is Katie Kessner. I am the primary host of the Dear Katie podcast, and we are so delighted to have you take this journey with us on our weekly podcast episodes. I just want to remind everyone to do great self-care. Thriving is part of the purpose of this podcast, and we definitely want you to take a break at any time. Warm bath, fresh air, walk a dog, have a bite of chocolate, whatever you need to do good care for yourself. Just as a reintroduction, if you're not familiar with me, I am the woman who was on the cover of Time magazine at age 18 as the first in history to speak out nationally and publicly as the victim of date rape. And HBO made a film about me, and I went on to become the executive director of the Take Back the Night Foundation. We are the oldest, largest global movement on sexual violence in all forms for all people in the world. So we encourage you to visit our website for lots more information. So I'm going to turn it over to our hosts and our guests for today. Hi, everybody. It is Katie Kessner, and we are on the Dear Katie podcast. I'm so delighted to continue on this incredible journey with all of our different guests, all of our listeners. Please feel free to put notes when you listen to episodes. Always listen with good self-care. You never know what's going to come up or bubble up for you at any given moment. Luckily, there's always push pause and then push play again when you're ready. Take a breath of air, and whatever you need to do, excellent self-care. So I'm delighted to tell you about our guest today. Sanar Alixandyr is her name, and she has not only as a survivor, but she has really thought through all the different ways that we can shapeshift our mindsets, our healing processes, and so much more. So I'm going to just read a little bit of her own background and story, and then you're going to hear from Sanar herself. So here we go. Sanar is an empowerment coach with a really diverse background, spanning higher education, entertainment, holistic healing. She has a BA in education, and she's supported herself for over 30 years as a professional musician, a director, composer, teacher, and actress. Sanar's journey took a transformative turn when she was embarking on the path of healing herself from PTSD, overcoming depression, suicidal thoughts, and eating disorders. This whole experience led her to create beautiful and acclaimed one-woman musical drama documenting her own healing journey. Sanar turned to empower others through healing arts. She became proficient in various cognitive, energetic, and holistic therapies, and her current focus is on quantum field energetic transformation. It is her belief that in this new wave in producing a quantum leap in personal healing and manifestation of power. So she is a certified expert on this modality. So Sanar, welcome. My goodness, where should we start? I think maybe what happened when you were young? What happened to you is sometimes what we say.
Oh, dear Katie, how wonderful. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm just so honored and blessed through this experience. And if you hear a little something in my throat, I'm doing my fall cleansing and clearing. So there may be a couple of glitches in my vocal cords today, but I am just so excited to be here. Thank you so much. And thank you for your mission in sharing stories of empowerment and inspiration and divine beautifuln's. Yes, I did put my story into a one-woman musical drama because to me, life is a musical drama, it just needs to be that way. And I named the little girl Beautiful because she represents that gorgeous divine light essence that we all came into this experience as our identity. And then as we begin to absorb and change and adapt to our family dynamics, our cultural dynamics, all of this hoo-ha, all of this stuff that's going on this planet. And we begin to create different identities for ourselves in order to fit in order to survive, in order to manage life in whatever way we can. So I came in, my parents named me Linda, which means pretty or beautiful. And they were extremely wounded people and just did to me what was done to them. So I know that I came here to stop that abuse and to break that chain of denial and self denigration. And I just wanted to sing and be wonderful and share, delightful things. But as my life moved on, I began to absorb more and more of their negativity and just started hiding myself away. I put myself away, for safekeeping, evidently, until 1989. And just to let your listeners know, I'm going to be 72. So this happened a while ago, and I'm here to share my story so that hopefully your generations of magnificent, beautiful, divine females of all spectrums can take that story and not have to live it yourself. See how you can step into your own magnificence. And that's where the quantum leaping comes in. It's like, yes, we have stories. Yes, we have experiences. Yes, we take physical steps. And I so honor your journey of just really powering in there and being one of the voices that says, no, this isn't right. We're not going to do this anymore. And breaking the chain of abuse.
Yeah, absolutely, Sanar. And so let's talk about what this modality looks like. And, just pretend you were describing it to someone who's never heard of it. What's involved? Is it one-to-one? Is it group? Is it energy work? Tell us the whole description. Like, how would one start and who's involved?
How would one start and who is involved? As in all life, it starts with you, doesn't it? It starts within your heart. I remember very clearly the day I just cried out and said, there's something wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was in my 30s and I was just a mess. I was suicidal. I couldn't keep a relationship. I was a single mother, barely taking care of my kid. And I was just a disaster, to say the least. And one day I just was like, something is wrong with me. Show me what's wrong with me. And by making that declaration, I began to be approached by people who were showing up to assist me in showing me what was wrong with me. And thus started my post-traumatic stress disorder era, I call it. All the blocked memories from childhood abuse stayed hidden within my body, within my psyche, within my energetic experience until that one day where I said no more and stood up for myself and said, okay, I deserve to be here. I deserve to live.
Hi, this is Katie Kessner, and I wanted to remind all of our listeners about the free National Sexual Assault Legal Hotline. We at Take Back the Night have assembled an incredible team of attorneys, trauma-informed, who truly believe survivors and want to support their journeys in healing and finding justice. The Get Justice Hotline is 567-SHATTER, or feel free to fill out a form on the Take Back the Night website, share your story, let the attorneys know what's going on, and they will get back to you as soon as possible with all of your legal options. That is a service we are delighted to provide through Take Back the Night. Okay, so I thought of two questions, Sanar.
Beautiful.
I saw your application to be on the podcast, and everyone else did not. So you
Correct.
wrote about something that happened when you were 9 that was just it overwhelmed me. And you wrote about it so descriptively. It was just compelling in so many ways. And I just want to link and connect the dots for our listeners in this way. Every one of us who listens to the podcast, every one of us who's, out there as a survivor, we may have gone through multiple types of abuse, not just sexual violence. you already alluded to not great with your family, your parents. But I still think it's like part of the listenership is like, well, what did you go through? Because I want to hear how you healed and then pick apart, like, okay, maybe that wasn't my exact same experience, or maybe I also had this one and this one, or my skin color is this, or my gender identity is this. But I feel like that there's some sort of analysis that's really helpful in orientating ourselves. So there's like connective tissue from you to somebody else who's listening. So maybe a little bit more. I know you do she pronoun, you just said you had a child. So maybe along the way there's been a male partner. And I don't know what else you want to share. Did you grow up in the U.S., outside the U.S.? Maybe just a little more background.
Beautiful, beautiful. And yes, beautiful. It's all beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your questions, because there's so much that it's kind of difficult to narrow it down.
Yeah, just whatever you think is like, who's Sanar? Like, I grew up I was on a farm. I was in the Midwest. I was in the big city. I was in the, just like a little more about, especially because, at 72, you've lived a lot of life, which is awesome. But I think our origin story is also really important.
You got it. Absolutely. So I was born in the Pacific Northwest, up in Washington State, with the beautiful trees and the mountains and the oceans and the whales. And I just have a great love for nature. And nature was where I felt nurtured. I felt nurtured by the trees, the evergreen trees, and wandering in the woods and getting lost and finding my way back. And it was my escape, nature and nurturing and music. I was born with an innate musical talent. My mother was a musician, and so I inherited those dynamic qualities. So I was a happy, joyful child, playing music, having fun, and born into a family that had some major abusive issues. Let's just lay it out. I've had 3 near-death experiences from abuse, and I chose one in particular to share with you because I think that is the one that at the age of 9, I was walking home from a friend's house, and I was abducted by 2 men in a car and horribly raped and abused and treated terribly. And I lost my ability to breathe. I lost my life. I popped out of my body and started down a dark tunnel. I could see a light in the distance, but I was afraid for some odd reason. So I came back. My energy that was out of the body came back and waited for the gentleman, quote unquote, to be finished with what they were doing with the body, and left it out in the woods thinking I was dead, and then consciously breathed back into the body, and they delivered me back near to my house, and I blocked all memory of that. That was just too much for my 9-year-old self to handle. So going back to the post-traumatic stress, I'm in my 30s, I'm a mess, I can't find my way anywhere, and asking for help, and these block memories from childhood started occurring. Like I would have flashbacks. You hear people about veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorders, and the body just reignites the horrible experience. It's just like you're there. You're screaming, you're going through whatever you went through at that age, and your body's just reigniting that button. So I was drawn to a wonderful lady who was an energy healer. I was drawn to different holistic modalities of people who worked with energy, because that's where we get blocked. That's where we get stuck. When something bad happens, you don't just like open your arms like a 2-year-old and go, woohoo, this is, oh, how wonderful. Look at this butterfly. It's like, no, you contract. you constrict and you hold on to that energy until you can let it go in whatever way possible. So I spent several months and many, many hours in self-healing therapies where I would allow the memory to come up. I could tell when one was on its way up, and I would go into a safe space and I would allow the memory to reappear and come through my body and give me all the flashes, all the signs, all the noises, all the everything. And when the memory was done, there was always an intellectual aha for me to think about. And so, for example, the 9-year-old event that I had, my 9-year-old self said if I had short hair, they wouldn't be able to control me. Because one had a hold of my hair and the other had a hold of my leg. And it was just, I was 9. They were big. I had no choice in the matter. But I fought like crazy. And so once I got that aha, in my 30s, I had really short, spiky hair and was just running like a crazy person. So once I got that aha, the energy stopped. The memory stopped. And then what we did was we brought in light energy, angelic energy, beautiful energy, that spirit that I was before all these things happened to me. So I got to learn to make that my identity. I am not what happened to me and my reactions to what happened to me. I am not my mother's experience. I'm not my father's experience. I'm not those things. Those things happened to me, but me, I'm a spirit named Sanar. And so towards the end of this post-traumatic stress era, I call it, I was gifted with the name Sanar and took it on. And it's like, no, I'm that. I'm not these things that happened to me.
What
I'm
is
this.
Sanar? You said your original birth name means beautiful. And
Yes.
so what does Sanar mean?
To heal.
Oh, lovely. And who
Oh,
gave it to you?
I have, well, since I've had 3 near-death experiences, I'm very comfortable with interdimensional angels and beautiful beings of light. So my guardian angel, quote unquote, named Ola, gave that to me. She said, that's your name when you are not in physical body. And I said, can I do that? Can you take the name of your true self? And she said, yes. And I said, okay. So I had it legally changed. And it was such a wonderful experience to become that, not all the things that happened to me and all of my dysfunctions and all of my craziness, but it's like, oh, I'm about healing. Yes, that's who I get to be. And I always stood up a little straighter as I got used to becoming that. So thus the name of the book, Becoming Sanar, is the story of me journeying through that darkness and through all of those debilitating effects and becoming the energy that now all of that stuff is just a story. It doesn't hold me down anymore. It doesn't hold me back anymore. I don't have a reaction to it anymore. It's like, it's a story I never wanted to talk about. I mean, you
Right.
say, I'd rather be talking about, beautiful, wonderful things. But this was a promise I made in the middle of my healing journey. To that little girl who was born Linda, I made a promise to her that I would share her story. So here she is.
Hi, everybody. It's Katie Kessler. Just a quick interruption. We want you to know that there is an entire shop full of cool merch on the Take Back the Night website to support your own healing journey, that of someone you care about. There are t-shirts, there's bracelets, there's glow-in-the-dark stuff. There's all kinds of unique special edition from our artist series as well. So please take a look. If it's a holiday or a special occasion or just a gift to yourself, support Take Back the Night through your purchase. Yeah, so I'm just curious, Sonara, how Like, let's imagine, I
Yes.
don't, we could go back to like this process because I know you invite people to be part of it. So for our listeners, like, the first thing I was thinking is how you said my past is a story, and it almost sounds like it's a book that you can put on a shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and you've separated it from your daily living experience. But then I get stuck on all the triggers. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you mentioned this, I couldn't breathe, and all the things that happened when you were like 9. So how does one detach those triggers and put them into a storybook?
Oh, wow. You know what I did?
tell
I
tell us tell us more.
Oh, tell us more. I made up creatures and animals to hold on to that which I couldn't handle. So, I had a dragon and I had a panther and I had a robot and, I'm a kid. I'm like, I'm not big enough to handle this. So, um, okay. Yeah. I took those emotions and those energies and I gave them a space to live with animals and creatures that could handle it. So being a little girl of nature and being surrounded with people I didn't trust or could handle me, I made like animals that would take care of it. So I had an big orange dragon that was in charge of my anger. Because it wasn't safe to express anger. So the dragon held on to that. And the panther was in charge of holding on to this stress. And the robot was in charge of not being affected emotionally. Because if somebody triggers me emotionally, I know they've got power over me. So I would make myself benign and like robot-ish and let that be part of the essence to protect the little girl that was inside who was too damaged to handle that. So as an adult, I could see that, excuse me, the dragon came out in situations where I needed to speak. I was a great defender of abused women and great defender of people who were not being listened to and not being taken care of. And I have a great passion for like, oh no, I don't think so. You're not doing this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think you're about, but this is not going to happen. And that would be the dragon coming up. The panther would be like, okay, just hold on while you're going through this dark space. And eventually you will get to a place where you will be able to deal with that energy or that anger, or that situation. One of the aspects of this 9-year-old event was that I was afraid to go to the light. Now that's kind of weird, really, in all the stories you hear. And I came back and waited. So I found in my life experience, although I didn't remember any of this until I was in my 30s, in my life experiences, I could never go all the way. I would go part of the way, but then I would go back to what was safe. I would go reach out to this, and then I would come back to what was safe. So once I energetically re-experienced that initial event, and here comes the quantum energy. It's a timeline. It's a story. It's something that happened that created an energetic lifeline for myself once I identified it and went, oh, that's not going to run me anymore. Thank you so much. And releasing that and then bringing in more of Sanar, bringing in more of who I really am. I'm going to
So,
stop.
yeah, yeah. That, well, I hear how you did it. Did someone teach it to you, or
Um,
someone teach this to you?
What nobody taught it to me intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
It was experiential.
Mm-hmm.
It
You
was
just
I
started.
was
Did
just
you come up with a
compelled,
name? A
like I
whole
had.
name?
Pardon me?
Is that your name? The quantum heal, the field energy transformation? Did you create that?
Oh gosh, no, it's there.
Oh,
It's always there. Yeah. No, no,
it
no.
was.
It's a
You know who created that?
Oh, okay. You're talking about that. Okay,
The
thank you. I
term.
apologize. I
No, it's okay.
apologize.
The term itself.
There was a magnificent woman, wise woman named Jean, um, I want to say Houston, who gave a seminar a few years ago on dealing with the quantum fields. She was very prolific in her time, and the quantum field is kind of is a scientific explanation of the possibilities that are available for you to access when you're ready.
Okay.
I know.
Interesting. And then I guess let's talk about inviting people to join you, or what does that practice look like? Because in your application you had written about that. Like, so what is that? You invite people, they say, yes, I'm signed up. Sanar, what happens next?
So what happens next is we first of all get together one-on-one. This is a process that you need to feel extremely safe. You need to feel extremely supported. You need to feel like you are able to, it's not hypnosis. I'm not checking you out. My job is to check you in to this physical experience. And so what we begin to do is we begin to find your beautiful self, and where is he, she, it, we, they, where is this beautiful spark of energy? And because I am able to help you find that, I'm just an assistant, then I help you find that, and I help you bring that into your experience where you are currently. It can come in and start to live in your heart, where you start to open up to loving yourself, or it can come into your brain, where if you're a thinker, if you're a really great thinker, it would come into your brain and just go, oh yeah, let me just be me. If you're a dancer or a creator, it might be in your physical body where you need to bring that beautiful energy in. So it's a very tangible experience, but it's also a very unique and individualized experience. And I'm just a guide to help bring that there.
And how many people have you helped with this so far?
I've helped several. This is not a mass experience. I'm not teaching anybody a technique for them to use. I'm helping them when they're ready to step into their true self. Let's step in and get her done. So one-on-one. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it is. It is.
What sort of roadblocks have you run into with when you've been working with? I mean, what do they struggle with?
I think the biggest struggle that we come up against is identifying as that energy as opposed to the person that you've been for 30, 40, 50 years or however long. So the biggest roadblocks are, this is who I am and this is what I think, and this is the corporate structure, corporal structure, the physical structure. I'm a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm a this, I'm a that. It's like, yes, but there's an aspect to you that is ready to step into this beautiful basket of delight that you are, and creating that as your identity. And when you delve into this deep wealth of wellspring of energy and light and life, then, I had this one beautiful client that he said, oh, here I am. Those moments where you're just like, oh, here I am. And it's beautiful and it's calm and it's presence and it's powerful. And you can work it and use it in any way that you want to. But the roadblock is allowing that to be you as opposed to all of the ways you used to be.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for continuing to take the journey on the Dear Survivor podcast. A quick note, we are 100% volunteer at the podcast and at Take Back the Night. Your donations, your generosity helps us do what we do on such a shoestring budget. And we would be so grateful if this show is helping you through your journey and you are passing it along to others you care about. Please visit the Take Back the Night website and donate and support our cause and our mission to end sexual violence and support survivors. Thank you. Do you think, I was thinking, Sanar,
Yes.
maybe some of the things that helped you, and maybe they just became coping mechanisms, although you mentioned being born with such great musical talent, how do you think that plays into your healing and that of others? Because you have such a creative mind. And does that help you leave some of these things out, or does it make it more nightmarish? I don't know. If you put away, you have such a creative mind, you could latch on to the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Or you learn escapism, and it's not escapism, but it's like, I like that idea of putting it into the book on the shelf.
Uh-huh.
So how has that served you?
As a child, music was the only place that I got to exist. It was the only place where it was me, In the rest of the world, I was whatever people needed me to be. From a very young age, I learned very quickly, like, oh, I don't get to be me. All right, you need this. But as a young musician, and my mother did her best to support me in that endeavor, I was drawn into music in the school systems and music here and music there. And it was a place where I belonged, and it was a place where I could breathe, where I could express myself in a structure that worked. And so as I became an adult, I utilized those musical talents and skills to express myself to the best of my ability and make a living while I was doing it, being a single mom, that kind of thing. And it just seemed to be the most successful way for me to stick around, to take care of my son. As he grew and as I grew, and before the healing journey, I would sing in churches, and I would sing and do music for lots of different spiritual experiences, religious structures. And that was a place too where I could give of myself. I was 30 before I realized that people liked to hear me sing. Like, oh, it makes you happy. Great. It makes me happy. Wonderful. Let's sing. And so I find that I spent many years as a vocal coach. Singing has a lot to do with your personal self, your personal space, your energy. You've got to breathe. You've got to relax. You've got to open. You've got to make sound. It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous when people allow themselves to be in the flow of that beautiful energy. When I started in my healing journey, yes, music was an important soother. It was important vibrationally when I needed to meditate. It was important. I like binaural beats. There are certain musical genres that activate my brain. There are certain musical genres that speak to my heart. So I became adept at just surrounding myself with lovely music. And then I started writing music, and then I started becoming more like I wanted to sing about beautiful things, and have life be magnificent. And so it is a space for me to take all the talents and skills that I was born with, that I was educated to that I came in with the tools to open up and share with the specific intention of healing, because that's who I am.
Nice, Sanar. I'm trying to think of what else you can offer our listeners today. You've given us a lot to think about. And I like thinking about your creative side. And, you even talked about music being a way to, those rhythms and cadences that we get can help with our healing journey too. So, anything else that you have just felt like, oh my gosh, this was one of those watershed moments that you want to share before we wrap up?
Oh, let's see. Let's talk about the divine feminine, the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women, and all that women are facing these days, and all of our LGBTQ plus beautiful friends, and all of the dynamics and the multiple identities that we are embracing as humanity. And I came to a gorgeous thought, golly, just a couple of weeks ago, that, okay, so what is the divine feminine? It's not girl boy anymore. It's not, we're not in the 50s. We're not in the 60s or the 70s. We're not, who are we today? And what does that mean? And my perception at this moment in time is that the divine feminine is a very receptive and open and beautiful and loving and giving energy. And so if we are willing to receive that which is within us, that beautiful spark of that gorgeous child that was born into this to do something, rock and roll, get this, let's change these dynamics, willing to receive that from within, and then also willing to receive from without. Like, let's make life beautiful. Let's make our little bubble of the world, our little corner of the world, or large corner in your case, your beautiful traveling. Like, everywhere you go, you create an energy of receiving from within, an energy that then comes back to you, and you get to receive it as a more positive energy for your success and your mission and your journey in this life.
It's beautiful. Sonar, you just bring such positivity, and you've alluded to some really tough things that you've been through, and you've clearly succeeded, and have found such joy and happiness. So we are just delighted to learn a little bit about your personal journey. And I know our listeners are going to take some notes and try and learn more about the healing modalities that you've mentioned. And I still just I'm seeing all the animals coming out to ward off all the negativity and trauma.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it will definitely work. I was almost like, my goodness, it could bring a whole new meaning to little stuffed animals that kids get as children.
Yes.
You can grow old with them and keep them as part of your repertoire. Those cute fluffy things that you had on your bed can now become part of your self meaningful mantras. So,
oh, that's so gorgeous, and you are reminding me that I had a unicorn puppet for my son when he was very, very young, and he would tell that unicorn things with me holding the unicorn, but he would talk to the unicorn and tell him things that he would never tell me or share with the rest of the world. So it is a very powerful, and the animal nature dynamics are extremely nurturing. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, Sanar, it's been a delight to host you. And for our listeners, continue. I mean, take every smidge you can here and there from each one of our guests. Sanar certainly offered something new and delightful and enticing, I think, especially with this art and creativity and bringing out, it's like Halloween every day. Now I'm thinking it's like either childhood animals or we could put on that costume and hear me roar, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
play with it and play with
yeah,
it. Yeah.
I like it. I like healing becoming an outlet also for creativity and inspiration. We think of trauma as so dark, but I think you've clearly shown it can be a bright, sunny light. And you can walk through the forest and you can walk through the whole terrain of the world with different thought processes to guide you. So thanks, Sanar.
Oh my gosh. Thank
Yeah,
you. You're
perfect.
so
Yeah, perfect, perfect. And again, if today brought up anything for our listeners, please go back to the website, check out our resources. There's so many different ways to heal, and we have something there for everyone. And I always like to tout our important justice hotline. The sexual assault legal hotline is free. There's no cost. The attorneys are all trauma informed. So if all of a sudden you're ready to go after this awful nemesis that's been holding you back, and that feels like a good path as well, we have that for you too. I'm so proud that we were able to create a free resource with so little funding. But lots of caring, awesome people just like Sanar, who we all donate our time. We love helping and we love this thrivership that we've created. So thank you, Sanara. And to our listeners, thank you, thank you. Keep going. Thank you again, everybody, for joining another episode of the Dear Katie podcast. I hope very much you found today's episode helpful, empowering, and a way to take another step in that long journey toward healing and supporting those we care about, learning about sexual violence prevention, and also survivor support. For those of you who don't know, again, the Take Back the Night website has tons of great resources, books, self-care options, cool merch. If you're feeling like you need a wearable, we have great t-shirts. Of course, we would love it if you follow along on our free newsletter with news and events going on around the country and even around the globe. And finally, don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You'll find our entire community popping up here and there, and recaps of our podcast episodes as well. So together we shatter the silence, and together we end the violence. Take care.